I don't think you can understand what it means that you show up for us.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, we can say thank you. And we like ask like, for you guys to do this, but like that you show up consistently for us. You ever like show up somewhere? Like you've done this to me a lot where it's like, wow, like she's really great in my life.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Guys, can you believe it? It's been 1 year since we started this podcast. So on this episode, we're going to talk about what we've learned in this past year, sitting side by side, what we've learned about ourselves, what we learned about podcasting, and so on. So please come celebrate with us. Get ready to listen up and lean in as we elevate your minds. Happy anniversary!
Happy Annie!
Yay! 1 year.
Yeah.
365 days. You know, most podcasts only make it to 8 episodes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wait, I knew that. And then there was like another one of like, they don't even make it past the 8 months either or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget.
But we did.
I forget the
We
statistic.
thank you.
We're persevering.
We are. We are learning so much.
Oh my God.
And
so much.
Yeah, we'll talk about, I think let's just started from the bottom. Now we're here. So we started in the office.
Yeah.
In these chairs.
Yes.
Right. And
with these mics and with this pillow.
These mics.
That camera too.
These pillows were bought.
Oh,
for
really?
This. Yep.
There were pillows in there, I thought.
That camera didn't exist till later. So we used what do we use?
The Mac.
The Mac. Yeah. Really great quality.
You know what? One of them popped up on my YouTube and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But you had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, and we didn't know if we wanted to do it. Remember? Because we were like, let's just see. And then we were done that first day and we're like, oh no.
This is so fun.
We're like,
we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did purchase the Sony ZVE10 and would just keep the window open. And Brookie, rest in peace, would knock down everything. Yep. She would just be in and out.
And then they would scratch at the door.
And they'd scratch at the door. They'd bark. I'd have to yell at Mark. Mark would have to go into the room.
Yeah. And then, but he also had to be done with work early too. Yep.
He had to be done with work early. He could not work out during that time.
Yeah.
It's a whole situation. We did not have a logo at the time. We just had our little cute picture, which we loved. And Ira edited. Yeah. She edited the reels and
everything.
Everything. Yeah. She posted it. We started only on Apple and Spotify. Then we went on YouTube. Now we're on iHeartRadio and Google Play, whatever that is. So then we transitioned from there into.
Well, then we went virtual for a bit too.
Oh, we did go virtual when you had the baby. Yeah, good call.
Yep.
And Amanda was not pregnant when we started.
Yes. And then I was
pregnant.
No, I would have been pregnant.
We didn't announce it.
We didn't announce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I definitely was pregnant at your hotel.
Yeah.
Because I got pregnant in February.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would have been, shortly pregnant.
Yeah. So we went virtual because you were having a baby.
Yeah.
And that was interesting too. Just being virtual and trying to figure out backgrounds and what it looks like. We're still trying to figure that out, to be honest with you.
Well, and I don't like, I don't mind the virtual, but I don't prefer the virtual. Because for me, it's hard to tell like because there's an art of like letting you speak and not interrupting. And I feel like on virtual, I can't tell when you're wrapping up as much.
And I don't do that well. Well, I don't like virtual because every time they post a reel, my face is like,
or I'm bouncing on a penis.
Someone's like, oh, is she bouncing on
I saw that. And I was like, come on.
She's bouncing her baby dick. That's what I don't like about virtual. Yeah. Now, if anyone can help us, if you're listening, I still can't get this camera to be clear like you see the profession. This is a professional camera.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. So if anyone wants to help with that, it looks clear up there on our
monitor.
But when we see it on
whatever, it gets fuzzy.
I don't understand it. So there's that. So then baby has had Mark Hathaway comes in, turns a shed that was full of boxes and junk into this beautiful studio. A client the other day is like, "Oh, you're in the studio?" I was like, "I'm always." No,
I'm always.
When I was working, when I was doing call, I'm like, I'm always in the studio. Like,
always,
it's my office too. So we upgraded. We got the TV. We had our logo created, which we love. Lighting, palm trees, fur, whatever this is. And yeah, here we are. So that's just started from the bottom. Now we're here. The next step, what I'd like to do is put a dome light down here. So it's just above us. So it's just dome light, or there's this lighting that I like that they're little octagons and you connect them together. It might be weird though, because the way this is, to have lighting come down on us. So that's,
you're into the lighting.
Yeah. And then trying to figure this out. That's literally the only thing. Oh, and adding in 2 other cameras. So that way they get one on. Yeah. That's why you guys, it doesn't look as good as like if we were in a professional studio, because they'll have one camera on.
Professional studios, FYI, for people listening that don't know, like the methods of starting a podcast, those are like what they was like between 6 to 10K. Yes, 6,000 to 10,000 per month
for us. Because we do 3 episodes.
But they only, so that's the thing, because we needed 3 episodes, and they usually, from the ones that we talked to and kind of just gathered the information, is they allot an hour slot. And then based on that hour slot, they build kind of different packages, right? And it was like, okay, but we need 3 hours. But then it was actually like, we actually probably need 3.5, because that way if we run over, we're not in that time crunch. And so it just became like this whole spiel. And then making sure you rent the room at your time, right? And then making sure you have it, making sure that they're going to edit it on time and all that crap. Because then, of course, they do SEO. Of course, they make the clips. Of course, they do like, yes, but it's still 6 to 10K a month.
Right.
Like,
and we haven't made anything off of generated any income off of this podcast. So we don't have, not monetizing it. Obviously it feeds into the business, which makes some money, but it's significantly not as much as you would
expect.
Yeah. And I mean, if we listen to like Mind Pump, right? And they talk about how it took years for them to begin to, they started selling the MAPS programs. Now they didn't have anything to sell when they first started, whereas we have a program to sell. So there's a difference there. But yeah, if that would be stupid. That would have been a dumb investment. It would have a very smart investment.
Yeah, it would have. To me, it was like, oh, that's gonna put, like, we run in the red for the podcast. That would have put us in like hell.
Yes, correct. Like, yes, we would have not gone past 8 episodes.
My husband might have shot a brick.
Yes, correct.
Like, wait a second, you're doing this because you enjoy it and you don't make any money? Like, yes,
we're losing money
and I'm paying for it. Yes,
correct. Correct.
Yeah,
it's like a car.
Yeah.
Right? The cool thing about this space is we could hire someone to be right there.
Yes.
And then they could just be with all the cameras. That would be the next step.
That's what we almost need, like an audio visual intern, like from ASU or something like that.
Listen, if anyone's listening, we need an intern.
Yeah.
No, we need to check on that. So that's the kind of logistics of it. Obviously our following continues to grow. Our reviews continue to grow. They're huge, you guys. Like, it's so hard to understand an algorithm, and we have to understand multiple algorithms. We have to understand Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, now TikTok,
Facebook. I don't even.
Did we do anything on Facebook? Okay, I didn't think so.
I know. I don't know. Because I've given up on. I don't even know Facebook.
However, in all those platforms, if you obviously have the reviews on the podcast platforms or comments, that's good. The thumbs up, the saves, the subscriptions, and the comments on YouTube, that is good. On TikTok, the comments, the saves, the views, all the way through. On YouTube, the views are huge. That's what they were saying on that documentary I was telling you about. So you can't monetize it if your listeners or the people watching are watching through a certain point, because then what YouTube will do is they'll plug in an ad.
Yes.
and then you get to get, 3 cents off of that ad or whatever it is. So that's interesting to learn and talk about what you've learned about YouTube. Cause I feel like
so much. Yeah. YouTube is, so that was where my client came in handy a lot because she does YouTube for her business. And so she was kind enough to set up Ira and I of like a training. And then she sent me her modules for the business. Now that I've been doing it and like Ira's been helping me, I need to go back and like rewatch them because we have like, she does like the setup of the channel, then like looking for the keywords and all that. And then how to do the analytics and looking at, because it's not just views, it's like certain this, and you go into the like the advanced analytics essentially. But it was just crazy to learn how much like hacking you try to do for them to change it.
Right.
Because even like Dr. Austin, he's got a guy that does his social media and like YouTube and stuff like that. And so him and I would talk about it when I'd go and see him. And like what he knows, it was like, okay, so there's so many ways to do it. But even then, you're just kind of playing Russian roulette, right? Hoping that they don't change the algorithm day to day, but they do. And so you have to realize like just because, and even like your shorts they want them like 20 seconds or less. Over that, they don't show it. Right. And so if you have 21 seconds and you can't really cut it down, then it's kind of like shit.
Right.
But even I've had Ira do 20-second shorts and those didn't perform as well as like the 21 seconds. And so it's kind of like, well, then why are you putting out that information?
Right. Well, and the thumbnails have to look
the thumbnails have to be a certain way. Then your thumbnail has to have the word in the title, and then the title gets repeated in the description, and then because that connects everything and words. And there's a way, like even just because you can have your subscribers see it, but if you can get YouTube to post it for other people that are like-minded to see it, like then it does it automatically. So your subscribers and views may not even be accurate, because if YouTube shares it to where more people have the opportunity to see it, that's actually better than like the 500 views that you got.
Right.
So but they don't give you that number unless you're in the advanced analytics. And I know. So
it's a lot. There's a little gnat in here.
So it's a lot.
So that's what we've learned kind of on the back end. Let's talk about our episodes. First thing I want to talk about is the people we've interviewed over this year, because I feel like they're obviously, thank you to everyone we've interviewed from, our first interview was with
probably one of I think Molly Bond.
And then Dr. Julie Hyman. And then Alenka. Cynthia, right? Was in there.
And then I did the doulas, and then I did the Kakar. So I did doula, my doula Megan. Then I did Caitlin Kakar, who's a pelvic floor physical therapist.
Thank you for the referrals.
I'm trying to think of who else. We did Caitlin and Alex they are birth educators, but they're also doulas as well. And so they talked about the importance of birth education. We did Megan Hardy, that just released. Michelle Carroll, that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
So not that I didn't like everybody else, but I feel like Michelle just had this statistics so like down, and
Dr. Molly was first.
Yeah. And then
Julie,
Cynthia,
Megan Straub.
Yeah.
And then Alenka.
Are you on YouTube?
Kakar. I'm on Apple.
Because and for example, our YouTube is organized pretty well. So if you go on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Dina. We did Dina, the perinatal mental health.
Michael. We've done client interviews.
So we had Michael, we had
Sam,
Laura, and Dr. Lee Lewis. Shout out to her. Dr. Jordan Trapp. Dr. Lana Buckner. Jeez, we've had a lot, you guys. For those listening.
Erin. Hi, Erin. I know she listens.
Oh, Erin. Congrats, Erin. Just had her second baby, little daughter. Love you. God, there's so many. And I feel like Cynthia Sassy. In the comments below, we want to hear, what was your favorite interview that we've done over the past year, whether that was our interviews with our own coaches, interviews with the specialists that we speak to. Which one did you love? Dr. Brian Romero. We love him. We've done a good amount. So Just want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. Michelle Carroll.
Yeah,
That was a good one. Good. And then Bulking Babes, our interview with Megan Hardy and why women should bulk. So I think for me, I think Olenka's was really good because, you know, a lot of our audience is that high achiever kind of toxic resilience gal. So, you know, Olenka and I, it's so interesting to see her do her thing in her business program that I go through.
Yeah.
And how much of it is mental health and the stuff that I work with her on, with the stuff we work on, and just how it all jives together.
How it comes full circle.
Yeah. But Megan's was great because we don't talk about bulking very much. So that dropped on Monday.
Yeah.
Wherever you're listening to this. What has been your favorite episode altogether?
Ooh.
I know.
I think I like the ones where we talk shit about people.
Okay.
You know?
Say more.
Yeah. Like I like when we kind of debunk like the fitness influencers or talk about like the realities of what this really looks like. And I think, and I don't have one in specific that's coming to mind, but it's just like kind of being like, hey, this is like really impacting you and you don't realize it is because it's also fake.
Right.
And that's one thing that I've learned since we started too, is like, you know, trying to hack the algorithms and whatnot. And it's kind of like, I didn't realize how much of a battle we were up against because to me it's like, so like, I have the solution for you.
Right.
You know, and that's something I had to learn as a coach too. Not everybody wants the solution.
Right.
They just want to continue in the problem. And I felt like, okay, well, if we get our message out, like surely this will be like the solution that's digestible, right? Just eat more, move a little bit less, move structured, free up your mind, work on the shit that you've been traumatized with, and then you will live a better life.
Right.
But I didn't realize like that message doesn't hit.
No.
And like, and so when we talk about that and integrate it into our episodes, like we just did the one on like decluttering, right? I like talking about that, but I like when we talk about like, no, this influencer is fucking with you and get real.
Right.
Because I think like so many people don't, it's always like, I always use the example of you're looking at your friend who has the perfect vacation in Costa Rica, but you know, she's about to file divorce papers when they get back.
Right.
Like what the fuck?
Yep. No, I agree. I love when we do the no bullshit kind of, I think my favorite are just when we are passionate on a topic. I know that trying to remember the one that I was like, that was so good. One of our best episodes ever. I texted you guys that on the thread and I don't remember what it was about.
I know. See,
well, we've done a lot.
Well, when you've done so many, and the other thing too is like the message is the same but shifts. Right. Said like it's a pie, but this time it's apple pie.
Right.
Tomorrow's going to be blueberry, but it's still a pie.
It's still a pie. Right. So I believe it was on. I think really for me, because it is in my wheelhouse, is anytime we can talk about like the root causes of things, because it's nice because I have the education and experience. You have the experience plus now the experience with clients. And that for me feels like so natural to us. Now, obviously we can talk about nutrition and exercise, but there's a certain point where we then bring in experts in certain areas. Yeah. Right. Because we can't know everything. So for me, it's when it just feels so like fluid and natural. And usually, sadly, that's like the toxic resilience episode or like your imposter syndrome episodes or body image episodes, things like that, because there is not just this, I know because I've been certified and helped people and taught people how to do a squat, right? It's, I know I've coached people on how to do it and I've struggled with it myself. So I think that those episodes are the ones that I not prefer, but like
your lived experience shines through.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so, it is interesting though, just to come back to what you said, we do tend to say the same message in a variety of different ways in hopes that the people listening will be like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Right. It's like I talked about Stacey Sims talking about how cutting out alcohol, while a man can do it, he gets ripped, a woman can do it. And she's just like, truly, I should be seeing something from this. And they don't. And just how she said your body's searching for those calories. Like and the whole conversation obviously is about how women have a harder time being in a restrictive state.
Yeah.
Energy restriction, as she calls it, than men, because we're not small men. We are women with hormones and such. So I've listened to her several times, but just that one little thing. And I was like, oh, so my body was actually consuming a lot more than I thought, even at times where I lost weight. That was it. That's what I told myself. Even at times when I lost weight, because I was still consuming alcohol. Right. And while I tracked and did all the things, I was still kind of guesstimating, right? And so, anyways, just the way she said it, I was like, ding! And I like told Mark, it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, And so we tend to do that, and we hope that Sarah and thank you. Let's give a shout out, Erin, Sarah, Kelly, Kristen, Shorty, Brad. We love you, Brad. We don't know who you are, but we love you. Yeah. People who like comment, Laura, Samantha, Michaela. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, Jess. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys, because these are people who we're talking about that comment or talk to us like, oh, this would be a great subject, right?
Oh, Samantha, I forgot. She was like, you should call. Let me look up, because she's like, oh, I have a name for the people that listen to you. Remember? And I was like, oh,
yes.
Yes.
I don't know where I was going with that.
You're just saying thank you.
Oh, but I was talking about Kelly, I think. Or no, Sarah. Sarah said early on, she goes, I know you keep saying we've said this on this podcast multiple times, but like, stop saying that, because we need to hear it multiple times. And it doesn't matter if you say it multiple times. We need to hear it as in different forms and fashions. And I appreciate that feedback, because I think we were so concerned of being too repetitive.
She said we should call the listeners mindsetters. Mindsetters.
I like that.
Like, okay.
Like my Deja crew.
That's funny.
Yeah. Every episode, you go, what's up, Deja crew?
Yeah.
Mindsetters. Do we love that? Comment below. Hey, YouTube, today's giveaway, yes, we're starting this, is the Self-Mastery Method, which is a self-led program on my mindset method. All you have to do is comment below on this podcast, and we are going to randomly select the winner, and you will get access to that program for 4 months and be able to work through the entire method and join along with all that we do. Now, back to the show. Anything else on the repetitive or just content piece? We haven't even touched on content, but
I don't think so, because I mean most of your podcasts are going to be repetitive at some point,
right?
Like, even I was listening to Huberman this past week, and I was like, oh, like it's kind of the same thing over of like taking care of your health and how to do it. And then I was listening, actually, ironic enough, I was listening to Mind Pump. And I was like, okay, and I honestly haven't been listening to them lately, because I look and see what they're talking about. And I kind of skip their banter a little bit nowadays. And I look at the quad or the live listeners, and I'm like, I already know. And then someone had commented like, you guys are getting really repetitive. Can we have either more guests on or something else?
Oh,
and I thought like, oh, yeah. And so I was like, oh, I mean, most podcasts end up repeating themselves.
Been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even think of like, okay, we'll go with Joe Rogan, right? He's had on the same guest over and over and over again over his however many years he's been doing it. And they say the same thing each time. But I've listened each time that, this one person was on.
Well, I've listened to Stacey Sims, I think, on every podcast she's been on.
I listened to, there's this guy that was doing, his name's Dave Smith. He's a comedian, but has a podcast. He's more into politics and stuff. And so he had his podcast come out. He was on Rogan. And then he was on Lex Friedman. And then he was on Rogan again on a debate with another guy. I listened to all 4 of them in 1 week. And I was like, this guy, like, he didn't tell me anything new on each of those podcasts. It was all the same spiel.
Yeah.
So,
well, we want to get creative. I think for us, really leaning into the guests is helpful, which then we're like, that brings up something in us. And we're like, oh, we should talk about that. The nice thing is that we're not people who just educate. We do. Like, we are in the trenches with our clients.
Yes.
where a lot of people podcasting, not the people we know, like Megan has her own
Uh-huh.
coaching business. Crystal has her own
Mhm.
coaching business, but a lot of them are usually the research on the research side,
Mhm.
right? Or solely just the host
Mhm.
learning, whereas we are doing as well as have the education, right? The beauty in that is every day we have new episodes kind of shining in front of us with the conversations we have with our clients.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's a great episode.
Yep.
And I'll write it down. Like extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation.
Uh-huh.
Write it down. And that's the awesome thing, because it's what is happening in the moment with the client, which most likely is happening with
All of you.
all of you.
Mhm.
Right. So that's what I was getting, where I was getting with that.
Yeah. No, I
So,
think it makes sense.
yeah.
Because you talk about what's relevant, and that's what's relevant in our
Right.
life.
Right. So let's talk about I have a better one.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we thought, where we'd be right now.
Oh, okay.
Where we have exceeded or did not meet expectations.
Go ahead.
Following.
Yeah. You thought we would.
I thought a year in, we would have more followers than we have episodes, but we don't.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I thought that we would, I know our tried and true, our ride or dies would be here. And then they would share, which I think a lot of them have, and then they would share, and then they would share.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me sad because we put so much effort into this.
Mhm.
But I also believe, like, I trust the process and the timing, because if I don't, I go crazy, that it will happen, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's this new TikTok thing that we're doing. But I definitely thought that we'd have a bit more engagement and following, because what happens when you don't is to get the great people on.
Yeah, it's hard.
They're looking at your numbers. They're looking at how many reviews you have, and they have to be selective with their time. So while I would love all of you, the people we've reached out to come on, even though we're still a smaller podcast, like, for listeners, like, if we want to get more quality people in, we have to have more engagement, because they need to be able to use their time wisely. So that's my biggest. Did it meet expectations? What is yours?
So contrary to you, I think we are exactly where I expected us to be. I did. And it's not a knock on, it's not
I'm a big dreamer. Big dream.
No, it's not a knock on that. I think for me, I set my expectations a little, like, more of like this, again, one of hopeful, but not in my dreams about it. And more so of like considering people have a hard time sharing their struggle and their win of that struggle, because the wins have been so focused on physical changes. Right. So for me, when I think about, like, is this something I would share if I was in where I was at? And I don't know that I would have.
Gotcha.
Because of judgment, or kind of opening that door that something might be wrong with me, or not like quite as fitty as you might think I am. And so I often think of that a lot, of that, because the episodes that hit with a certain someone, or whatever episode it is, because every episode is going to hit with somebody else, right? That might not be a door they're willing to share quite yet, and say, hey, I'm struggling, like, this podcast has helped.
Right.
And so I think of it like that, because I think who we're helping is those that are a little bit more elevated mentally. Not to say that everybody's a dum-dum, but it's more so to say, like, these people want to feel better. They just don't know how, or are scared to.
Yeah. My struggle with that is that's what happens in our business, is that people don't tend to
the referral,
tell people that they're doing this work, and they have this amazing
result,
but they're not telling anyone. So we don't get that referral. Right. So I always say, just share the podcast with them.
Yes.
Because that's an easy, like,
hey,
yeah,
I enjoy this podcast.
Yeah. This is a podcast that these girls are great.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, if you
segue,
right.
You
if
can
you
do
if you don't want to share who got you there, share the second, like, I guess the side chick of that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think about, right? Is like, I think we are where, would I like us to be further and bigger? Yes. But I also think we have learned so much about like patience and really just being confident in what we have to offer. Cause I honestly think if we would have gotten like big hits on the algorithms, like through social media, through the reels, the shorts or whatever, I think we would have started chasing that more. Whereas I felt like Ira and I were chasing it and trying to kind of figure out, is there a strategy that works?
Right.
Whereas I think for me personally, if something would have hit big, I would have been like, how can we replicate that 1,000 times? You know what I mean? And so it's taught me that
like, almost like not authentic.
Yeah. Well,
inauthentic.
it's taught me that like the strategy is just to keep showing up and doing what you do best. Because, and even like you said last week, like if 100 people saw it, that's 100 people. Right. And when you visualize what 100 people looks like, that's a lot.
Right.
50 people saw it. Great. 4 people saw it. Well, you only need 1 to buy in. Right. Or you don't need 1, but ideally 1 buys in from that.
Right.
And so I think I've always thought of like, the podcast for me was more so of like, you have to get this message out because not just you, because you speak so eloquently about it. When you're presenting, like like you're very confident in what you have to offer and the business model that you've developed, that I'm like, you have to get that out because there is no other, like you said, there is no other business that offers this.
Right.
There are other coaches that do, but again, are they like going through everything, or are they just like, oh, like, okay, that's interesting, maybe like we should work on that, and then like, how do you work on that though, you know? And so then for me is like, I just want to support so much, and this is a way that we have a larger platform that has a longer message that people can hear and resonate from.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that our message is hard, as we've talked about,
it's against a tidal wave. It's against a tsunami of, because even I still go on my stuff and I'm like, God damn, like my shit should be curated by now to what we talk about.
Right.
And it's not. So I'm like,
insane.
Yeah.
Mainly Instagram.
Yes.
That's why I like TikTok, because that algorithm picks up
really quick.
Almost in a bad way, because I bought that Medi skin or whatever.
Yeah.
And I still keep seeing the freaking, because you could buy stuff from TikTok.
Of course.
Like I already bought it.
Yeah.
Not from TikTok. So that's why I like that. But our message does not do well in 8-second reels. You know, I did a reel, you guys, that was the most vulnerable reel I've ever done. I sat and I told my story and thought, let me just put this out there, you know, and it did okay. But my business coach was like, you've got to get more intimate. You've got to be more vulnerable. You've got to da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like more than I have. Right. So it's just, the long form is definitely helpful. You know, I in my head am like, we're going to be new and noteworthy. Like we're going to do it. But I also realize that there are people who are on those lists that have been doing it for a long time, but they finally got like traction somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
well, and even too, they already had a name. That's the other thing that you have to like think about is like, I don't want to be famous. You know, I just want 500 people to listen to this podcast who found something valuable from it, share it, and then that creates another 500, and eventually we have X amount of people that then go, I need this support and help. Okay, great.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to be like
Christy Teigen.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
Well, that's the problem in this space, is that if you're famous and you start a podcast,
it's boom,
takes away from people like us. So just remember that. They already have the marketing. Yeah. They all have a podcast network.
Right.
That'll be like, no, come on to ours. We know you're going to do well.
Right.
And so.
Well, and they already have products that want to promote with you and whatnot. And it's.
Well, it's like Tina Fey said. She goes, I don't think people who are famous need to have a side hustle. She said
Tina
that.
Fey.
Yeah. She goes, because she didn't say this directly, but it's taking away from your mom and pops.
Yeah.
Because you can create the tequila line.
Right.
Whereas, you know, I actually have a client who created his own tequila line. And obviously that's going up against George Clooney.
Yeah.
And that's same with podcasting. It's like, oh, just you're famous and now people want to hear from you, which takes away from folks like us and all of our friends that have podcasts. Like most of the people we interview have their own space.
I never thought of that. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because it's funny that you bring that up because Michael went to an event this weekend. This YouTube car guy opened up a pizza place by Modern Milk. And so he went thinking like he just took the Lambo casually, to the
Brum, brum,
yeah.
brum, brum.
He just casually took it and he thought like, oh, it'd just be like a car event. He said it was swamped with people. Like he said literally as nuts to butts. And he's like, I couldn't even see the cars because there were so many people interweaving. And then he showed me a video and I was like, holy fuck, that's not even what I had in my mind. Like that's 1,000 times worse. And it's a good point of like, this YouTube star opened up a pizza place, but what about like the local pizza guy?
That's pizza.
Yeah. Or even like I think of my dad, like he owned an Italian restaurant, right? And he made pizza. And so that would put like he's just automatically fighting against somebody that's got, 20 million plus views.
Right.
Like how can you share that? Because that's the other thing too, is like these people that we've reached out to that we're hoping to come on is like, you would help us so much by doing that. And you talk about how you want to help, but yet you have limitations to that.
Right.
And to me, that's a bit frustrating because it's like you're telling people they need help, they need this, but you're keeping it in-house. But then you're like, yeah, we got to support all people that support this.
Right.
And I'm like, but you're not.
Right.
You're taking away our business by bringing things in house and keeping it at like an ivory tower.
Right.
And so that's frustrating for me. And it's something that I have to like it's not like I take it personally, but I have to keep the blinders on and be like, you know what, fine.
So if anyone's listening and a podcast or someone that you think would be like to bring on that could be a bigger name or really be beneficial to our community to grow and to learn, like drop it in the comments. We will reach out. Like I have no fucking shame.
I have no shame.
I reach out to who the fuck ever. And
sometimes I get a reply, sometimes I don't.
Right.
And when I don't get a reply, I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can at least say no, thanks.
I'll reach out another time.
I always do a follow-up.
Yep. So let's talk about the future.
Okay.
My goal for the future is to be in
new and noteworthy
or some sort of accolade for our podcast, whether that is a
YouTube
100,000, a YouTube little
thingy.
Plaque, some sort of list, some list on Apple, Spotify, whatever. And then what I'd like to do eventually is take this on the road.
Where?
Like in person, just doing in-person events.
Yeah. Oh, well, we do have an in-person event coming up.
We do.
Yeah. I got to send that to you.
What?
On Wednesday?
Wednesday, May 11th. I don't know when it is.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Because she sent me the link and all that. So I need to make something.
So that's where I like to go, is being able to have in-person events and such. What do you want for the future?
For the future, what do I want? Ooh, I would like to not have to do the back end stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
And just be able to show up, chat what we chat about, and know that the flow and the views and the team have it. And it's not to say that we don't have a good team, because we do, but it's more so of, I don't want to be checking, because even like I'll check and think like, oh, I need to text Christina, or I need a group text, and then I forget, right? Because something else is going on or whatever. So I would like to just be able to show up, chat about what we do best, and have the other people do what they do best.
I like that.
And know that it's getting views and traction and our things are increasing. I think for us personally, I agree. I would like to host, like, I've always wanted to host like just a panel.
Yep.
Right. Just our clients come, their friends come. Like we have some, I prefer in the day. So maybe some like drinks, mimosas, and just like a breakfast thing. And just talk. Yeah. And even like have like, from 8 to 8:30, you and I chat about what brought us and made us do this like conference. From 9 to 10, I interview somebody. From 10 to 11, you interview somebody. From, of 12 to 1, we have a panel where the audience can ask questions, and then like a meet and greet and networking after. Yeah. Or something like that. Like I do really well with networking and meeting people and connecting people and interviewing people that I want to share that with more in a live space.
It's one of my goals, not just for this, but for the Mindset of Matters, being able to like work with people like Megan and other gals that would be willing to come to the same space and do. I like what you're saying. I would love it to be like even like a 2-day thing where like the next day you're actually working on your own stuff.
Like a workshop.
Yeah. So I love that actually. I love the idea of like being able to come in, do our stuff and have someone here who's like, when we have to edit, they're just like bink, like they're just touching a button, whatever they do.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pausing and then going back.
So a year from now.
Okay. 2026.
Where do you want to be with this?
I think that's where, right?
Okay. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Our goal a year from now, everyone, is to have everything like a team.
Yeah.
Whether that's 1 or 2 people. Well, I guess a team would be more than 2 people or 2 people or more.
We're a team.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 of us.
Team.
A dyad. Yeah. So, but what I'd love is YouTube, social media, editing to probably be different people.
Oh, to have like each in their own lane, essentially.
Yep. And potentially have someone in here. I would like to have 3 cameras for sure.
That's where I think get an intern.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so too.
Let them kind of play.
And we will at minimum have 5 people on our podcast that we interview. 5? I'm going to say 5 that are bigger names who are here to support us.
Yes.
And obviously our community and do those 5 interviews over the next year.
I think that's definitely achievable.
Yeah. Because we already have Dr. Joey for May.
He did?
Not yet, but we're getting there. We'll reach out to Adam. I would say Megan's a big name. I mean, she's got a pretty large following. Her podcast has a large following, but continuing. I'd love Jen Winderstrom on here, Chris Powell on here. Who else, man?
Yeah. I wanted Steph Gardro, but she didn't message back.
Yeah.
Gardro.
I will be meeting Dr. Mary Claire Haver.
Are you going to that event?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I wish
good. I know. Trust me.
I was going to pay for your ticket.
I don't even care about that.
I know.
Trust me. I wish I could go too.
I know where you're going because I looked at your schedule. I was like, really?
Trust me.
Really?
Well, and somebody else is in town too. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that off.
Okay.
Anyway, we love you guys. Thank you. Thank you to our audience. Like,
I don't think you can understand what it means that you show up for us.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, we can say thank you. And we like ask like, for you guys to do this, but like that you show up consistently for us. You ever like show up somewhere? Like you've done this to me a lot where it's like, wow, like she's really great in my life.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Seriously, I think our friendship has helped me define what friendship is and help me to.
I'm just a very loyal friend.
Of people who are not you.
Yeah.
Like are like you.
Yeah. I'm just I try and be like a very like loyal. I'm not. I'm huge. Yeah. Like I'm not
the word.
Like
loyalty.
A consistent. Like I'm not gonna text you every day. I'm not gonna do this but I want to be there. And if you are in my little arena, you are in my arena.
Yep.
And that's very important to me. And if you aren't in my arena, it's like, okay,
yeah,
that's fine. And so I think of us and like how I feel about you. And I think it's so hard to put that into words because that's how I feel about the audience. And you can't. So I just want the audience that's listening is like that friend that you're just like, I don't know. I just love them. Like they just have helped me in so many ways. That's all I could say.
That's how I feel about them.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's that loyalty. You have literally thousands of people that you can be taking listening, understanding, educating yourself from, and you choose to have us be in that list, right? Obviously there's a queue, but we get to be in that list. And we have, for both of us, it's so humbling that you trust what we're saying and you trust, our message. And obviously you take what works for you, what doesn't.
Oh yeah.
But it is such a great feeling. And I know that sometimes, we're talking about the challenges and the algorithms and this. I still want you to know, like, if nothing else changes and we just keep cruising where we're at and we get to continue this with you guys, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah.
I was going to say something to that because what I was going to say is because I know we have said something off-putting to somebody that like resonated with us or me or you, but even the fact that they give us another chance,
right?
On the next episode, like we're not saying things to intentionally piss you off or attack you. It's more so of like, this is just it. Like, if I said, gosh, you're being so like, this client is being so lazy. Like, it's not to say you are being lazy. It's to say like, there's just so much here that we're not addressing, know? And then you can take that personally. And then on the next episode, I'm not meaning it personally.
Right.
I'm just trying to speak from the heart and trying to get you into a place I know you deserve.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Good.
Wrap.
Also, we did better. We didn't talk about our mics and our arms, which we used to be so self-conscious about.
We had the critic corner or whatever.
Yeah, critic corner. So thank you guys. We appreciate you so much. We hope that you're here next year, 2026, for year number 2 of this bad boy. And whatever, who knows? Podcasts may go away, but we will continue. And whatever new facet, social media, whatever it is that comes along. So thank you guys. And you already know what to do because we talked about it throughout the podcast. So if you can continue to support us, you know how to do that. So we'll just leave you with this.
What you say in the mind,
you see in the mirror.
Bye.
Bye.